What's up, guys? Canol here, Bulls on Wall Street. Guys, I hope you're having an awesome day, a whirlwind day in the markets. Big ramp up and then big decline. We had it all today. We had spikes up, spikes down. We had drama. We had love. We had hearts broken. We had a little bit of everything for our traders. But in the end, the good old Nasdaqs finished with an L. God rest his soul. No, I'm just kidding. We had a nice spike and we failed over. I don't know if there was news end of day. I didn't find anything. These algos come on, though, when the supports crack lately. They drive them down so fast. It's really incredible. It's an incredible thing to see, right? So, we gapped up and there wasn't that much action in the main large caps, but there was action everywhere else. And so, if you go through and you run a scan for top gainers, you'll see all these kind of stocks like NTNX and BBWs and Maxwell. And look at how many breakouts there are, right? And they just weren't in your mega caps like the ones that you're used to watching. But there was action here. And so one thing that I just took out of this, and hold on, let me lower this, you don't have to look at my damn head the whole time, is that, hey, the Nasdaq's a little bit weak, the QQQs. That's to be expected with the end-of-day dump in Nvidia, and I suspect that probably had a lot to do with, the flush in the Nasdaq. But we had the end-of-day dump in Nvidia, and so, that kind of took down the market with it. It also, like a lot of the semiconductors that had, good setups, they rolled over too. Like I hit this Qualcomm today for the range break, and I got stopped out in I don't even know, 2 candles, right? It happened just I'm in it. It looks great. I was up maybe a buck on it, give or take. And then it just goes whamp. And, off to the races. All of a sudden, your gain turns into not gain. What can you do? But if you look on the other side of things, there was a considerable, I thought, there was some considerably nice kind of heat going on. And I think that's something, we'll have to just be mindful of as we go through this. So let's take a look at the watch list. I think right now the indexes are a little bit, just consolidation, grindy life. We looked like we were going to break out here, and then we rolled it. I wouldn't call it a failed breakout yet because that's not this kind of trend line here. That's not really your an essential breakout. Like an all-time highs breakout would be an essential breakout. A little trend line McGee is more just a point of reference that, you're using, on charts. And so it did fail, but I wouldn't say necessarily that we've rolled over. We're really just into this kind of support here. Hey, we do what we can. On the other side of things, the IWM held up pretty nicely today. You had a really nice trend on it for a majority of the day, and then it also dumped end of day. And we'll keep an eye on this. But I saw a lot of stocks on this scan. When I was going through stocks, there were stocks going on all the time. I had to whittle down my list. My original list here was 54 names, right? It was 54 names. It took me, I had to run through it 3 times to kind of whittle it down. So that tells me that there is still some good heat in the markets, even though it may not be necessarily in your lame sevens. It's in the other names. So let's go in and just kind of take a look at the watch list. First of all, Affirm, man, this is what you want to see, right? When you have a beaten down stock like this, and it kind of broke out of this channel over here, when you have a beaten down stock like this and you rip a 50 spot in volume, right? You come out of multiple layers of supply. Amazing. When you open up and the first pullback into support is bought, you kind of pop up, pull right back into the 9 EMA, and then you just rip tits $5. That's what you want to see. Those are the kind of stocks you want to participate in. This is a really good sweet spot of a type of stock for most of you guys too, right? The lame sevens are really hard to trade. They do too much volume. They got maybe a little bit too much a range sometimes. They get a lot of algos. These names here, not as sexy, but a lot easier to trade. Keep an eye on it. I think tomorrow we get any pullback on Affirm, we're buyers on this, right? We got to try. Hopefully we get a decent one, maybe down into like 39 or something like that. We'll hit the red to green or something like that. Fridays get a little bit crazy. Hey, before actually we get into these stocks, let me just tell you something. We've had about 4 Fridays in a row that have been lame-o. I mean, it's been just like a hodgepodge of just kind of choppy McGee's and that kind of stuff. So don't even think you have to force the issue. Watch the action for the first hour. If you get that inkling that it's just done, I mean, don't be afraid to just walk away, and do it. I mean, easier said than done, right? But, hey, we're all lonely men here. But there's other things to do. It's the last days of summer. You got your Labor Day, Get to the lake, baby. Get yourself in some water. Do a little skinny dipping, right? Do a little this. Do a little hanky panky. But get something going, Especially for you guys up in the north, man. I grew up in Michigan. Like, man, Labor Day is like you're kind of like that last gasp day, right? It's like the last days of summer. Right? It really is an amazing day. This Maxwell is great. 15% had a nice trend. I don't know, Nvidia, maybe because Nvidia's hitting the bed, this one started to ramp. But you got a lot of upside on this thing. Here, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing come in to fill the gap. I'm a buyer on this on a week open tomorrow. It actually moved pretty orderly. Love the overall look of it. A-Lab. Been really trying to find these kind of bottoming patterns. This is a $6 billion company, former IPO. Right? It was $90 for a hot second. This thing, for one moment in time, for 3 days, and then maybe 2 more days here, it was just this hottest thing, and then it was dead. Today it had the biggest volume day it's had probably since its first days. So you had a big volume day, nuzzled right against the 50-day moving average. You got a little Nike swoosh coming in here. I think if you can hold over this 50, you got yourself a spot. This could actually even be a swing trade if it breaks and holds this 50. You don't have any supply till really 55 to 60. I mean, could be a swing trade. EVGO, this is right up the alley too. Look, I don't like trading these kind of names historically, but this is where the heat is, right? So this is like a 450 break on this. It's got good range. It's got decent enough liquidity. I don't like small caps like the pump and dump ones, right? Like that are like $3 stocks with that had 5 reverse splits. That's not, but a regular $5 stock of a company that might actually do something, I'm okay with that. That's okay. NNE, this is a little uranium stock. You got a flag pattern here. It's been eaten at this 10. Every time it comes in and tests it, somebody's eating it up. I've been watching this thing for a little bit. It's just a matter of time before this thing gets going. The ATR on this is incredible, 18% ATR. Like you like a little, you want to do a little hoot and holler, and this is the name to do it in. Love the look of this thing. AESTS, after that big earnings pop here, right? You first deep pullback. You pulling back literally the exact half of the earnings pop here. You got your 20 SMA here. It's just got a good look to it. If this remounts to 9, I think it's coming back into this, range here. Now, obviously, the stock's a turd. It was just a buck, a little while ago. But I don't know if the momentum is ready to die just yet on this one. App, good looking stock here. It's just kind of, after the flat top breakout, you're just kind of flagging out here a little bit of cup and handle life. Overall, just a really good look. 5 million shares of volume. Great range. It tends to spike up and down very fast, so just be mindful of that. It's a $30 billion company, but it tends to just kind of wham. So you do got to kind of scalpy McGee in and out of these things, but it's got a good look to it. That's for sure. PayPal, love this. This might be my favorite for tomorrow or one of them. It trades really liquid. There's a lot of options on this too. So you probably do the calls, and they're always pretty cheap. Dude, look at these things. 375, 260. The stock moves 3%. The calls go up 300%. Like That's nice, right? It's got really good liquidity on it, and it's just due. If you look at the longer-term chart of this, it used to be the most expensive bank, or the bank with the highest market cap in the world, and then now it's been, right, just rebounded in. That's what it really is, right? It's a bank. I use PayPal more than I ever do Regions Financial, right? So you got test. Got 9 EMA curls for the girls coming up under the kitchen on this. It looks good. Very easy to manage on this one. Dropbox, I've been putting this in the blog every day. You had your entry here. Look at how tight it got. It finally busted through today. But I think it's got more in it. If it remounts this 200, then I think you get into this 27, 28. And if that happens, then you got all this gap to fill. And once again, we're in the right market for this. These kind of names are going. Roku, after this range break, very similar to Dropbox. You got a nice flag that's developing right under. If it takes out this flag, watch this $70 mark in the 200 SMA. I think we're going to get jiggy. It's a pretty low float stock for a bigger company. I think it's got a chance here. DocuSign, love this one. This is, for me, this looks like you can day trade this, but also looks like just a great swing setup. If you can kind of bust through here. I mean, if you do this, you got a straight shot to 65. But remember, the longer the base, usually the longer the breakout is. So if it does break out, right, you've got a big measured move here that goes back, 6, 7, 8 months. You can get some juice on this. Only 125 million share float. Like, why not, man? This is the time. Peloton for you cheapy lovers, right? If it has a week open tomorrow, you test in a 200-day moving average, the 9 EMAs there too. I think we try to bounce this thing. It popped on earnings, guys. It popped on earnings. 150 million shares in volume. No joke. You're pulling back on really light volume. I mean, look at this. It was minimal the last couple days, right? Minimal. 17 million yesterday. 21 million today. Compared to the 150. Heck yeah. Sonos. Inside day after that thrust. It was a little bit extended. Now you're chilling. You're coalescing here. Congealing. Dude, this has got everything you need, baby. This has got everything you need. I love it. Donut. Look, very similar to Dropbox. Test. Dude, this thing goes. It's ripping right into the 200. I got Adobe. Out of all the large caps, I think this one's probably holding up the best. Its earnings are in a couple weeks, but I think it breaks and probably starts to come in and test this area. Netflix has got a flag on it over the 9. And then RCL, look, after that big day, you got 2 inside days. This may go out of the gate tomorrow, right? When you get the big push into all-time highs, and then you get 2 inside days, that really tightens up the range so that you can get going. Guys, that's the list. I'm sticking to it. The rest of the big caps, look, I know Tesla and all this stuff. I don't know what to make of it because it's like they're just popping and fading, and that will end. They'll do what they always do at some point, but. I just don't like it. Like when you get failed breakouts like this, I think we just leave it alone. We'll see how Nvidia acts tomorrow. But, if it starts to kind of pull back, then, it pulls back, whatever, right? There's other stuff to trade. And I think, this SMCI thing will kind of lead a little overhang too, right? These guys are rewriting their earnings reports. They run with these AI stocks. These guys are all a team. They're all just putting their hands in each other's cookie jars. And then let's see what happens on all of that. So, maybe another couple down days. Look, it was $95. It's not really pulled. Yeah, it was down 6% today, but who cares, man? It popped $40. That's $40 on 90 just a little bit ago, right? So you had a huge run. Hey, let's go do what we do, which is a do-do. I love you guys.